What if I told you that something has been detected in the nearest galaxy to ours that shouldn't exist? Something so strange that even the most powerful telescope humanity has ever built wasn't supposed to see it. And now, scientists are asking a terrifying question. Is Andromeda hiding something we don't understand? Set the mystery. Imagine this. You're looking up at the night sky. Among billions of stars, there's a faint blur. That blur is Andromeda Galaxy. A colossal spiral galaxy. 2.5 million light-years away. So massive. It contains over 1 trillion stars. And it's not just sitting there. It's moving. Slowly, silently. Andromeda is on a collision course with our galaxy. But that's not the terrifying part. Because recently, the James Webb Space Telescope, JWST, turned its golden eyes toward Andromeda. And what it found was not expected. For decades, we believed we understood galaxies. Stars form. Stars die. Black holes sit at the center, quietly shaping everything. Simple. Predictable. But then came JWST. The most powerful space telescope ever built. Capable of seeing deeper, clearer, and further back in time than anything before it. When JWST observed Andromeda, it wasn't just taking pictures. It was looking for secrets, hidden structures, ancient light, the history of an entire galaxy. And at first, everything seemed normal. Beautiful. Spiral arms glowing in infrared light. Dust clouds forming new stars. Clusters shining like cosmic cities. But then, something didn't add up. Warning: the first anomaly. Scientists noticed regions in Andromeda that were too bright. Not just bright. Unnaturally bright. These weren't normal star-forming regions. They weren't supernova remnants. They weren't anything we've seen before. Imagine this. A part of a galaxy, shining with energy, without a clear source. And that's when the questions began. What is powering these regions? Why don't they match any known pattern? And more importantly, why are they clustered in specific areas? New moon, something hidden in the dark. JWST doesn't just see light. It sees through dust. Through gas. Through the invisible barriers that hide the universe's deepest secrets. And what it revealed next was even more unsettling. Behind dense clouds in Andromeda, JWST detected structures. Massive, cold, and almost completely dark. Not stars. Not planets. Not typical black holes. Something else. Something massive enough to influence entire regions of the galaxy. But here's the scary part. They don't behave like anything we know. Brain the unexpected behavior. Normally, gravity pulls things inward. Stars orbit in predictable paths. Galaxies follow clear physical laws. But in these regions, objects were moving. Wrong. Their motion didn't match gravitational models. It's as if something unseen was pulling, pushing, and reshaping space itself. Imagine watching planets orbit a star. But instead of smooth circles, they jitter, distort, hesitate. Like something is interfering. Scientists tried to explain it. Dark matter? Maybe. But this didn't behave like dark matter either. Black holes? No. There were no signatures of accretion disks. No radiation bursts. No typical black hole signals. So what was it? Let's pause for a second. Because what you're about to hear is where things get truly mind-blowing. Andromeda is so big, it could swallow our entire galaxy. It's approaching us at 110 kilometers per second. In about 4.5 billion years, it will collide with the Milky Way. But now imagine this. What if Andromeda isn't just a galaxy? What if it's hiding structures far beyond our current understanding of physics? JWST has shown us that galaxies are not as simple as we thought. They are dynamic, chaotic, full of unknown forces. And Andromeda might be the biggest mystery of them all. Magnifying glass tilted left, the terrifying theory. Now here's where things take a darker turn. Some scientists have proposed a theory. A controversial one. One that sounds almost like science fiction. But it's being taken seriously. What if these anomalies are not natural? What if they are artificial? A civilization beyond imagination. Think about this. A civilization, millions of years more advanced than us. Not building cities, but reshaping galaxies. Harvesting energy from stars. Manipulating gravity. Creating structures on a scale we can't even comprehend. It sounds impossible. But so did black holes, once. So did gravitational waves. So did the idea that the universe even had a beginning. And yet, here we are. Now imagine this. Those strange bright regions. What if they're energy extraction zones? Those dark massive structures. What if they're megaconstructs? Not planets. Not stars. But something engineered. Fearful face, but here's the scary part. If something like that exists, it means one thing. We are not the most advanced intelligence in the universe. Not even close. And remember, Andromeda is coming closer every second. Milky Way an even stranger possibility. But wait. Because there's another theory. One that's even more unsettling. What if these anomalies are not external, but fundamental? What if Andromeda is showing us that the laws of physics themselves can break? That space, time, gravity are not as stable as we think. Imagine this. Entire regions of a galaxy where reality behaves differently, where the rules change, where cause and effect blur. JWST might not just be observing Andromeda. It might be witnessing a crack in the universe itself. Puzzle piece, the cosmic warning. And here's something even more chilling. The Milky Way and Andromeda are destined to merge. When that happens, everything changes. Stars will collide. Black holes will merge. Entire solar systems will be thrown into chaos. But now, add this mystery into the equation. If Andromeda contains unknown forces, unknown structures, unknown phenomena, what happens when our galaxy meets its final buildup? Imagine this. Billions of years from now, our night sky changes. Andromeda grows larger, brighter, closer, until one day, it fills the entire sky. And hidden within it are secrets we still don't understand. Secrets JWST has only just begun to uncover. Secrets that challenge everything we know about the universe. And maybe, just maybe, Something is already watching, from within it. Fire powerful ending. Because the truth is, the universe is not just vast. It's not just beautiful. It's not just mysterious. It is unknown. And every time we build a better telescope, every time we look deeper, we don't just find answers. We find new questions. So the next time you look up at the night sky and see that faint blur called Andromeda, remember this. It's not just a galaxy. It's a message. A warning. Or maybe a mystery waiting to be understood. And the most terrifying part, we've only just begun to see it. Will we simply merge? Or will we encounter something we are not prepared for? But the story doesn't end there. Because after the first anomalies were detected, scientists didn't celebrate. They got worried. Really worried. Because when James Webb Space Telescope looks at something unusual, the first instinct is to check for errors. Maybe it's noise. Maybe it's interference. Maybe it's just a glitch. So they ran the data again. And again. And again. Different instruments. Different wavelengths. Different observation angles. And every time, the same structures appeared. Test tube cross-verification, it gets worse. To be sure, scientists compared JWST's data with older observations from Hubble Space Telescope. At first glance, Hubble hadn't clearly seen these anomalies. But when researchers went back and reprocessed the data, something chilling emerged. The anomalies were there. Faint. Hidden. Almost invisible. Like shadows. That only became visible when JWST's powerful vision illuminated them. Imagine this. Something has been sitting inside Andromeda for years. Maybe centuries. Maybe longer. And we just didn't have the technology to see it. Until now. Hold the gravity problem. Then came the biggest problem of all. Gravity. Because in space, gravity tells the truth. You can't fake it. You can't hide it. And what JWST revealed didn't follow gravitational rules. Regions of Andromeda showed stars accelerating without visible cause. Orbital paths bending unpredictably. Entire clusters behaving as if something invisible was controlling them. And here's the terrifying detail. These effects weren't random. They were organized. Structured. Patterned. Like something was designed. Red triangle pointed up the geometric pattern. Scientists mapped the anomalies. Connected the points. Tracked their positions across the galaxy. And what they found sent chills down their spine. The structures weren't scattered. They formed geometric patterns. Not perfect shapes, but too precise to be accidental. Imagine drawing points across a galaxy and realizing they align in repeating formations. Let's pause again, because this is where things stop being normal science and start becoming something else entirely. We're not talking about a new type of star, a strange nebula, or even an unknown black hole. We're talking about structures on a galactic scale. And here's the question no one can answer. Who, or what, could build something like that? The observer theory. Now listen carefully. Because this theory is rarely talked about openly. What if these structures are not meant to produce energy, Or move stars? Or reshape galaxies? What if they are meant to observe? Think about it. A network spread across an entire galaxy. Placed strategically. Hidden in dust. Invisible to weaker telescopes. Only revealed when technology becomes advanced enough. Almost like a test. Imagine this. A civilization so advanced that they don't explore the universe by traveling. They observe it. Silently. Patiently. Waiting. Watching galaxies evolve. Watching stars die. Watching life emerge. And maybe watching us. Flushed face, but then something even stranger happened. During one of JWST's deep observations, scientists noticed something subtle. Something easy to miss. One of the anomalous regions changed. Not exploded. Not faded. Not moved like a normal object. It shifted. Slightly. But noticeably. As if it reacted. As if it wasn't just a structure. But something active. Brain the uncomfortable question. At this point, scientists are left with a question they don't like to ask. Because asking it changes everything. What if this isn't just a discovery? What if it's a realization that we are not alone? Not in the simple sense of aliens flying ships, but in a deeper, more unsettling way. That the universe itself might already be inhabited. Not locally. Not nearby. Now bring this back to reality. Because this isn't just happening somewhere out there. This is happening in Andromeda galaxy. The same galaxy that is heading straight toward us. And when it arrives, everything changes. But here's the terrifying twist. If these structures are real, if they are active, if they are intelligent, then the future collision between Andromeda and our galaxy won't just be a cosmic event. It could be a first contact, but on scales so massive we can barely comprehend them. Shooting star the collision, a future encounter. Almost like a grid. Almost like a network. Almost like something is built there. Imagine this. Billions of years from now, humanity, or whatever comes after us, looks up at the sky. And Andromeda is no longer a distant blur. It's massive. Dominating. Overwhelming. And within it are structures older than our entire civilization. Watching. Waiting. Silent. Until the distance between us disappears, because maybe the universe isn't empty. Maybe it's not chaotic. Maybe it's not random at all. Maybe it's organized, watched, mapped, understood by something far beyond us. And the most terrifying part, we didn't find it. It was already there. Hidden in plain sight. Inside a galaxy that's coming closer every second. So the next time you look at Andromeda, don't just see a galaxy. See a question. A warning. A possibility. And ask yourself, what if it's already aware of us, but what happened next is what truly disturbed scientists. Because up until now, everything could still be explained away. Strange? Yes. Unusual? Definitely. Terrifying? Maybe. But still, explainable. Until JWST looked again. Telescope a second look. A different result. Months later, the James Webb Space Telescope focused once more on the same regions inside the Andromeda galaxy. Same coordinates. Same targets. Same settings. Scientists expected confirmation. Consistency. Stability. But instead, they got something else. Something impossible. Warning the disappearance. One of the brightest anomalous regions was gone. Not dimmed. Not shifted. Gone. Completely. As if it had never existed. Imagine this. A structure larger than entire star systems. Just vanishing. No explosion. No debris. No radiation. Nothing. And here's the terrifying part. Other regions remained unchanged. Meaning this wasn't an error. It wasn't a glitch. It was selective. Ice cube the silence problem. In space, when something big happens, you hear it. Not with sound, but with signals. Radiation bursts. Gravitational ripples. Energy signatures. But when this anomaly disappeared, there was nothing. No trace. No echo. No explanation. Just silence. Brain the breaking point. At this stage, even the most skeptical scientists had to admit, this doesn't behave like nature. Because nature leaves evidence. Even black holes, the darkest objects in existence, leave signatures. But this left nothing. Fearful faced the control theory. And now, a new idea began to emerge. Quietly. Carefully. Almost fearfully. What if these structures are not permanent? What if they are controlled? Think about it. Appearing. Disappearing. Shifting. Reacting. Not randomly, but deliberately. Imagine this. A system so advanced that it can construct and deconstruct massive structures without leaving a trace. Like turning lights on and off across a galaxy, but then someone asked a question that changed everything. What if this isn't construction? What if it's communication? Look at the patterns, the geometry, the timing of changes, the disappearance. What if these are not structures, but signals? Not meant for us. Not even meant for humans. But signals. Between something else. Something far more advanced. Something using galaxies. The way we use the internet. High voltage mind-bending possibility. Imagine this. Entire galaxies acting as nodes. Connected. Communicating. Transmitting information. Across millions of light years. And Andromeda is just one part of that network. JWST didn't just see anomalies. It may have witnessed a message in motion. Puzzle piece the time problem. But here's where things become even more disturbing. Light from Andromeda takes 2.5 million years to reach us. Which means what we're seeing right now happened 2.5 million years ago. Let that sink in. Imagine this. If those structures are active, if they are changing, if they are controlled, then whatever created them might still exist right now. Not in the past. Not extinct. But alive. Operating. Somewhere. In that galaxy. Shooting star, the cosmic horror. And now. Connect all the pieces. A galaxy moving toward us. Anomalies that defy physics. Structures that appear and disappear. Patterns that suggest intelligence. Silence where there should be chaos. And the realization that what we're seeing is ancient. Which leads to one terrifying thought. If they were capable of this millions of years ago, what are they capable of now? Brain, the final theory, the Watchers. There is one last theory. It's not widely accepted. It's not proven. But it refuses to go away. What if these are not machines? Not structures. Not even signals. What if they are observers? Entities that don't live on planets. Don't build cities. Don't need stars. But exist on scales we cannot comprehend. Using galaxies as tools. Watching the universe unfold. Tracking life. Tracking intelligence. Tracking civilizations. Like ours. Flushed face. And then the most unsettling idea. What if the moment we built JWST, the moment we became capable of seeing them, they noticed us? Imagine this. For millions of years, you're invisible. Just another species. On a small planet. Around an ordinary star. But then one day, you build something powerful enough to look deeper into the universe than ever before. And in doing so, you cross a threshold. You see something you were never supposed to see. And in that exact moment, something sees you back, because maybe the universe isn't just a place we explore. Maybe it's a place that watches, waits, observes, and decides when something becomes important enough to notice. And the most terrifying truth of all, the James Webb Space Telescope didn't just reveal a mystery in Andromeda. It may have revealed that we are no longer alone in the dark. So tonight, when you look up at that faint galaxy in the sky, remember this. You're not just looking at Andromeda. Something in Andromeda might be looking back. At this point, scientists had three choices. Ignore it, deny it, or face it. And they chose the third. Because what James Webb Space Telescope was showing was no longer just an anomaly. It was a pattern. A system. Something that behaved with intention. Compass, the mapping project. So a global team of astronomers began something unprecedented. They mapped every single anomaly inside the Andromeda galaxy. Every bright region. Every dark structure. Every distortion. Layer by layer. Data point by data point. They built a full 3D map. And what emerged was beyond anything they expected. Red triangle pointed up a shape in the darkness. At first, it looked random. Just scattered anomalies across a galaxy. But when they zoomed out, adjusted the scale, and connected the data, a shape began to form. Not perfectly clear. Not perfectly symmetrical. But unmistakable. A structure so large it spanned thousands of light years. Imagine this. Standing inside a forest and seeing only trees. But when you rise above it, you realize The trees form a symbol. A design. A message. That's what they saw. Fearful faced the message theory. And that's when the most dangerous idea of all was spoken out loud. What if? This isn't just a system. What if? It's a message. Not written in words. Not sent in radio waves. But encoded. In the structure of a galaxy itself. Think about it. If you wanted to send a message across cosmic time, you wouldn't use fragile signals. You'd use something permanent. Something massive. Something impossible to ignore. Like stars. Like gravity. Like entire regions of a galaxy. Brain, but here's the problem. We don't know how to read it. Imagine discovering a book. Written in a language. Completely unknown. Now imagine that book is millions of light years wide. That's what we're dealing with. A message. We can see, but cannot understand. Warning, the warning possibility. Now consider this. What if it's not just a message, but a warning? Because throughout human history, warnings are always left behind. Civilizations leave signs, symbols, clues, so others don't repeat the same mistakes. What if Andromeda is doing the same? What if those anomalies, those patterns, those shifting structures, are telling us something? Something like, do not come closer. Because remember, this isn't just any galaxy. This is the Andromeda Galaxy. And it is coming toward us. Slowly. Inevitably. Unstoppable. In about 4.5 billion years. Our galaxy and Andromeda will collide. And for the longest time, scientists believed this would be harmless. Stars are far apart. Collisions are rare. Everything would simply merge. But now we're not so sure. Because if Andromeda contains something unknown, something intelligent, something structured, then that collision might not be random. It might be an encounter. Ice Cube, the chilling realization. Imagine this. A galaxy filled with structures, patterns, and possible intelligence, moving slowly toward us. Not in years, not in centuries, but over billions of years. Patient, silent, unstoppable. And we are directly in its path. Brain, the final shift in thinking. This discovery changed something fundamental. Not just in astronomy, but in how we see ourselves. For centuries, humans believed we were discovering the universe. Exploring it. Understanding it. But now, there's a different possibility. What if we are the ones being discovered? The observer becomes the observed. Think about it. We built telescopes to look outward, to find life, to find meaning, to find answers. But in doing so, we may have revealed something else. Our presence, our curiosity, our existence, to something far more advanced. High voltage final escalation, the cosmic threshold. Every civilization reaches a point, a threshold, a moment when it becomes visible, when it crosses from being insignificant to being noticed. What if this discovery is not the beginning of understanding the universe, but the moment the universe starts paying attention to us? Imagine this. Right now, as you listen to this, Somewhere in the vast expanse of the Andromeda galaxy, those structures still exist. Still active. Still changing. Still part of something bigger. And far beyond our reach. Far beyond our understanding. Something may already know. That we've seen it, because the truth is, the universe is not just a collection of stars and galaxies. It's a mystery. Layered upon mystery. And every time we think we're getting closer to answers, we uncover something that changes the question itself. So the next time you look up at the night sky and see that faint glow of Andromeda, don't just think of it as a distant galaxy. Think of it as something more. A system. A message. A warning. Or maybe a presence. And ask yourself, if we are finally seeing the universe, who else is finally seeing us after years of observation? After endless debate? After theories that pushed the limits of science? One last decision was made. Point James Webb Space Telescope deeper. Longer. More focused than ever before. Not just scanning, but staring. Watching a single anomalous region. For an extended period. Hours turned into days. Days turned into weeks. And what scientists saw next was something no one was prepared for. Warning the pattern of change. At first, nothing happened. Just silence. Stillness. Darkness. But then, slowly, almost imperceptibly, the structure began to change. Not violently. Not randomly. But gradually. Like something reconfiguring itself. Imagine this. A massive structure in space. Thousands of light years across. Subtly shifting its form. Not collapsing. Not exploding. But adjusting. Adapting. As if it had a purpose. Brain a calculated motion. Scientists tracked the changes frame by frame. Mapping every shift. Every movement. Every variation in brightness. And what they discovered sent a chill through the entire scientific community. The changes followed a sequence. A progression. Step by step. Not chaotic. Not natural. But ordered. Like instructions being executed. The undeniable possibility. At this point, there was no comfortable explanation left. No easy answers. Because nature doesn't behave like this. Stars don't reorganize themselves with precision. Galaxies don't encode sequences. Space doesn't adjust with intention. But this did. And that left only one terrifying possibility. This is not random. Either response theory. And then came the question that no one wanted to ask. But someone did. Quietly. Almost reluctantly. What if the changes began after we started observing it? Let that sink in. Imagine this. For millions of years, this structure remained stable. Unchanging. Silent. And then suddenly, the moment humanity points its most powerful telescope at it, it begins to shift. Flushed-face coincidence, or reaction. Scientists tried to dismiss it. They had to. Because the alternative was too disturbing. But the timing was impossible to ignore. Observation begins. And then change follows. Not instantly, but soon enough to raise a terrifying question. Did it react to being watched? the cosmic mirror. Think about what that means. For the first time in human history, we may not just be observing the universe. We may be interacting with it. Not physically, not directly, but through awareness, through attention, through observation itself. Imagine a mirror, so vast, so complex, that the act of looking into it causes it to change. That's what this feels like. There is one last theory. It's whispered more than spoken. Because if it's true, it changes everything. What if the universe has a filter, a threshold, a test, and only civilizations that reach a certain level become visible to something greater? Think about it. For most of our existence, we were invisible, primitive, insignificant. But now, we've built advanced telescopes. We've mapped galaxies. We've started searching for life. We've crossed a line. Brain, and what if that line is what triggered this? What if the moment we became capable of seeing deeper into the cosmos, we also became detectable, not just to each other, but to something else, something that has been there the entire time? Fearful faced the most terrifying thought. And here it is. The thought that lingers. The one that doesn't go away. What if those structures in the Andromeda galaxy are not just observing the universe, but monitoring it, tracking civilizations, watching their progress, waiting for them to reach a certain point, and then responding? Imagine this. Right now, on a small planet, around an ordinary star, in a quiet corner of the galaxy, humanity has just taken its first real step into the deeper universe. We've opened our eyes. We've started to see. And in doing so, we may have just announced ourselves. Not with signals, not with messages, but with curiosity, with observation, with awareness, because maybe the universe isn't silent. Maybe it never was. Maybe it was just waiting for someone to look deep enough, to see far enough, to understand enough. And when that moment comes, the universe doesn't stay still. It responds. So the next time you hear about discoveries from the James Webb Space Telescope, remember this. We are not just exploring the cosmos anymore. We may have just stepped into something far bigger, far older, and far more aware than we ever imagined. And the most terrifying part, it might already know that we're here after everything. The anomalies, the patterns, the shifting structures. There was one final experiment. One that crossed a line. A line scientists had never crossed before. They decided not just to observe, but to focus intentionally. To lock James Webb Space Telescope onto a single region in the Andromeda galaxy. And hold it there. No scanning. No switching targets. No distractions. Just staring. Ice cube the long watch. Hours passed. Nothing. Days passed. Still nothing. Weeks passed. And then something changed. Not visually at first, but in the data. A fluctuation. A tiny deviation in infrared signals. So small, it could have been ignored. But they didn't ignore it. Because by now, every small change mattered. Warning the pulse. The signal appeared again. And again. And again. Regular. Consistent. Rhythmic. It wasn't random noise. It wasn't background radiation. It was a pulse. Imagine this. From a distant galaxy, 2.5 million light-years away, something is emitting a signal. In a pattern. Brain the impossible pattern. Scientists analyzed the timing, measured the intervals, mapped the sequence, and what they found was beyond unsettling. The pulse wasn't just rhythmic. It was structured. A repeating pattern. With variations. Almost like information. Fearful face a code. Think about it. Not a natural signal. Not a chaotic burst. But something. Ordered. Deliberate. Precise. The kind of pattern we associate with communication. But here's the problem. No known natural process creates signals like this. On that scale. With that consistency. The unthinkable question. And so, the question finally emerged. Not in headlines. Not in public statements. But in quiet rooms. Between scientists. Behind closed doors. What if this isn't just a signal? What if it's a response? Brain a response to what? To observation. To attention. To us. Because think about it. For millions of years, this signal may have existed. Or maybe it didn't. Maybe it started recently. After we began looking deeper. After we began focusing. After we began noticing. Shooting star the cosmic timing. And here's where things become truly disturbing. The pattern of the pulse matches something. Not perfectly. But closely enough to raise concern. It aligns with mathematical ratios. Prime-like intervals. Non-random sequences. The kind of structure that suggests intelligence. The signal changed over time. As observations continued, the pattern began to evolve. Slightly at first. Then more noticeably. As if something was adjusting. Learning. Responding. At this point, there is no comfortable explanation left. Because if this is natural, it's something we've never seen before. And if it's not natural, then it means one thing. We are not alone. Not in a simple way. Not in a distant, harmless way. But in a way that suggests interaction. Fearful face the silent acknowledgement. Imagine this. You're standing in a dark forest. You call out. At first, there is silence. Then suddenly, something far away repeats your call. Not exactly, but close enough to let you know you've been heard. That's what this feels like right now. As you watch this, as humanity continues to study the universe, as telescopes grow more powerful, as we look deeper and deeper, we may not just be uncovering mysteries. We may be starting a conversation. A slow one. A distant one. A dangerous one. Because the truth is, we always believed the universe was silent. Empty. Waiting to be explored. But what if we were wrong? What if it was never silent? What if it was simply waiting for someone to listen? And now that we finally have, the most terrifying question is no longer, Are we alone? But instead, did something just answer? When the pattern was confirmed, everything changed. Not publicly, not on the news, but inside the scientific world. There was a shift. A quiet one. A heavy one. Because this wasn't just data anymore. This was something speaking through the universe. Ice cubed the silence from above. After the pulse was detected, something strange happened. The signal stopped. Completely. No fade. No decay. No gradual disappearance. Just silence. Imagine this. You receive a signal from deep space. You finally begin to understand it. And the moment you recognize its pattern, it disappears. Fearful face, why did it stop? That question became the center of everything. Did it end naturally? Was it temporary? Or was it intentional? Think about it. If something is sending a signal, and that signal suddenly stops, there are only a few possibilities. It failed. It finished. Or, it was acknowledged. Brain, the most disturbing interpretation. And here's the one idea that no one wants to say out loud. What if the signal stopped? Because it got what it needed. Because whatever was sending it wasn't just transmitting. It was testing. Testing if anyone was listening. Testing if anyone could detect it. Testing if anyone was advanced enough to notice. And when we did, it stopped. The detection event. This moment now has a name among some researchers. The detection event. Not officially. Not confirmed. But whispered. Because if true, this wasn't just a discovery. It was a milestone. The moment humanity crossed from observers to something else. Something visible. Shooting star, a shift in the universe. Think about what that means. For billions of years, the universe has existed without us. Stars formed. Galaxies collided. Black holes consumed everything around them. And nothing cared. Nothing reacted. Nothing changed because of us. But now we have evidence, even if uncertain, that something might have noticed, warning the terrifying possibility. And here's where things take a darker turn. What if we weren't supposed to detect it? What if the signal wasn't meant for us? What if it was meant for something else entirely? And by intercepting it, we did something we shouldn't have. Brain, like hearing a conversation. Imagine walking into a room and overhearing a conversation not meant for you. At first, nothing happens. But then, the voices stop. The room goes silent. And you realize they know you're there. That's what this could be. On a cosmic scale. Milky Way, the watchers revisited. Now the earlier theory returns. But in a far more serious way. What if those structures in the Andromeda galaxy are not just observers, but part of something larger? A system. A network. A presence that monitors galaxies and reacts when something changes. Flushed face, and we changed something. We didn't travel there. We didn't send a message. We didn't make contact. All we did was look. But maybe that was enough. Let's connect everything. Anomalies that shouldn't exist. Structures behaving with precision. Patterns that resemble communication. A signal that appeared, then vanished. Changes that followed observation. Put it all together, and a single possibility emerges. This wasn't random. This wasn't natural. This was interaction. Imagine this. Right now, somewhere deep inside the Andromeda galaxy, those structures still exist. Silent again. Inactive. Waiting. But no longer unknown. Because now, we've seen them. And maybe they've seen us, because the universe may not be what we thought. It may not be empty. It may not be silent. It may not even be indifferent. It might be something far more unsettling. Aware. And the moment we finally looked deep enough to see it, we didn't just discover a mystery. We became part of it. So the next time you look up at the night sky and see that faint glow of Andromeda, remember this. You are not just looking at another galaxy. You might be looking at something that already knows. You're looking back.